When my husband yelled, "You're a tramp, and your kid will be too," he tossed me out with our 2-year-old. A year later he showed up with his side chick at a party full of big shots. And the look on his face when he saw me next. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from, and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you my story. The sound of glass shattering against the wall made me jump, my heart hammering in my chest. "I know what you've been doing." Derek's voice was a roar, his face twisted with rage I'd never seen before. "I've seen the texts. Amara, don't you dare lie to me." I stood frozen in our bedroom doorway, my mind racing to understand what was happening. It was 11 o'clock at night. Derek had come home late again, the third time this week, and I'd been asleep on the couch waiting for him when the door had slammed open. Now he was throwing things, screaming accusations that made no sense. "What texts?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Derek, what are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me." He grabbed my phone from the nightstand, waving it in the air. "You've been cheating on me, sleeping around while I work myself to death to support you and that kid." That kid? He'd said that kid. Not our daughter, not Zoe. A chill ran down my spine. "Derek, I haven't been cheating. I've been home with Zoe every single day. I don't even leave the apartment except for groceries and the playground." "Liar." He threw my phone at me. I barely dodged it as it sailed past my head and hit the wall behind me. "You're a liar and a cheat, and I'm done. You hear me? Done." He stormed to the closet and started throwing my clothes onto the floor. Dresses, jeans, sweaters, everything I owned came flying out in a chaotic heap. "Derek, stop. What are you doing?" "Getting you out of my house. Out of my life." "Your house? We've lived here for 5 years. This is our home." He whirled on me, his eyes wild. "It's my name on the lease. My money paying the rent. You don't work. You don't contribute. You're just a freeloader who spreads her legs for anyone who'll have her." The words hit me like physical blows. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. We'd been married for 7 years. We had a daughter together. Derek was a lawyer. Educated, refined. Someone who used words precisely. He'd never spoken to me like this. Never looked at me with such contempt. "I haven't cheated on you," I said, forcing my voice to stay calm even as tears streamed down my face. "Derek, please. Whatever you think happened, you're wrong. We can talk about this. We can figure it out." "There's nothing to figure out." He grabbed 2 suitcases from the top shelf of the closet and started stuffing my clothes into them. "You're leaving? Tonight? Now? It's 11 p.m. Where am I supposed to go?" "That's not my problem." From down the hall I heard Zoe start crying. She'd been asleep in her room, but the shouting had woken her. "Mama? Mama?" Scared, I tried to move toward her room, but Derek blocked me. "Don't. I'll get her. She's my daughter." "Is she?" Derek's laugh was cruel. "How do I know? You're a tramp, Amara. You probably don't even know who her father is." The room tilted. I grabbed the doorframe to steady myself. "You can't mean that. Zoe is yours. She has your eyes, your smile. She has dark skin, like yours. Could be anyone's." The racism of that statement, the implication that all black men were interchangeable, made bile rise in my throat. Derek was black too, but in that moment he was using every weapon he could find to hurt me. He went to Zoe's room and came back carrying our crying daughter and her diaper bag. He shoved both at me. Zoe clung to me sobbing. "Mama, what wrong? Why Daddy mad?" "It's okay, baby. It's okay." I held her tight, even as my own world crumbled around me. Derek dragged the suitcases to the front door and threw them into the hallway. Then he physically grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the door. "Derek, please. At least let me stay until morning. I have nowhere to go. You should have thought of that before you started sleeping around." He shoved me into the hallway. I stumbled, barely keeping hold of Zoe. "You're a tramp, Amara. And your kid will be too." The door slammed in my face. I heard the deadbolt slide home. I stood in the hallway of our apartment building, holding my screaming 2-year-old daughter surrounded by hastily packed suitcases, with nowhere to go and no idea what had just happened. My name is Amara Williams, and before I tell you about the night I walked into that gala and saw the look on Derek's face, you need to understand where I came from. I'm 35 years old, born and raised in Chicago, the daughter of a nurse and a postal worker who'd worked themselves to exhaustion to give me opportunities they'd never had. I'd been smart, driven, ambitious, full scholarship to Northwestern, degree in marketing and communications. I'd started my career at Apex Marketing right out of college. I'd been good at my job, really good, creative, strategic, able to see angles others missed, but I'd also been young and black and female in a field dominated by older white men who took credit for my ideas and offered me opportunities that always seemed to involve late dinners and hotel rooms. I'd met Derek at a bar near my office. He was charming, successful, a corporate lawyer at a prestigious firm. He treated me with respect, made me laugh, made me feel valued. We'd gotten married after dating for 2 years. I was 28. He was 31, and we'd been happy. Or at least I thought we had been. When I got pregnant with Zoe, Derek had insisted I take time off work. I make plenty of money, he'd said. You don't need to work. Focus on our baby, on our family. It had seemed romantic at the time. Supportive. A man who wanted to provide for his family. I'd taken maternity leave, then extended it. Zoe had been a difficult baby, colicky, sleeping poorly, needing constant attention. I'd been exhausted, overwhelmed, grateful that Derek made enough money that I didn't have to rush back to work. Months became a year became 2, and somewhere in that time I'd stopped being Amira the marketing professional and become just Derek's wife and Zoe's mom. I'd lost touch with colleagues, lost confidence in my skills, lost myself, and now standing in that hallway at 11 p.m. with a crying toddler and 2 suitcases, I realized I'd lost everything else too. I called the only person I could think of, my best friend Tasha. She answered on the 3rd ring, voice groggy. Amira, it's 11:30. What's wrong?
Derek threw me out.
Can Zoe and I stay with you? What? He threw you out? Right now? Yes, please. Tasha, I have nowhere else to go. Of course. Come over, I'll make up the couch. Tasha lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment in a rough neighborhood on the south side. It took me 40 minutes to get there by bus. I didn't even have a car. Derek had the only one, with Zoe crying the whole way and other passengers staring at us with a mixture of pity and annoyance. Tasha opened her door and pulled me into a hug. Oh honey, what happened? I don't know. He came home raging about me cheating. I haven't been cheating. I don't even leave the apartment except with Zoe. But he wouldn't listen, just kept screaming and throwing things, and then he threw us out. Tasha settled us on her couch, the same couch I'd be sleeping on for the foreseeable future. She made tea while I got Zoe calmed down and asleep. You think he's projecting? Tasha asked quietly once Zoe was settled. Accusing you because he's the one cheating? The thought had occurred to me. The late nights, the distance, the sudden rage, classic signs. Maybe, I don't know. Tasha, what am I going to do? I don't have a job. I don't have money. Everything is in his name. First thing tomorrow, you call a lawyer. File for divorce. Get child support. Fight this. But even as she said it, I knew it wouldn't be that simple. The next morning, Derek's lawyer served me with divorce papers. The allegations made my stomach turn. Adultery, unfit mother, unstable, promiscuous. He was demanding full custody of Zoe, and claiming I deserved nothing because I'd destroyed the marriage through infidelity. I borrowed money from Tasha to hire a lawyer, a woman named Jennifer Chen, who had a reputation for fighting for women in difficult divorces. This is a classic strategy, Jennifer told me in her small office. He files first, makes wild accusations, puts you on the defensive. The goal is to make you look bad so he doesn't have to pay alimony or much child support. But I didn't cheat. I can prove I didn't cheat. How? I opened my mouth and closed it again. How do you prove a negative? How do you prove you didn't do something? I was home with Zoe every day. I can show my location history on my phone, which he could claim you manipulated. Amira, I believe you, but in court, it's your word against his. And he's a lawyer with resources. This is going to be expensive and difficult. How expensive? She quoted a retainer fee that made my head spin. I had about $8,000 in savings, money I'd kept from before the marriage, and an account Derek didn't know about. It wouldn't be enough for a protracted legal battle. I'll do what I can, Jennifer said, but you need to start thinking about income. You can't fight him if you can't afford representation. That night, lying on Tasha's couch with Zoe curled up beside me, I felt more hopeless than I'd ever felt in my life. I'd been a smart, capable woman once. I'd had a career, ambitions, dreams, and I'd let it all slip away to be someone's wife. Someone's mother. Now I was 35, unemployed for 2 years in a brutal divorce with a toddler to support and less than $8,000 to my name. I didn't know how I was going to survive this. The phone call came 3 days later, an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this Amara Williams? Amara Jackson before marriage? The voice was professional. Female. Vaguely familiar. Yes. Who is this? This is Patricia Thornton. We worked together at Apex Marketing about 8 years ago. Do you remember me? Patricia Thornton. The name clicked into place. She'd been a VP at Apex when I was a junior account manager. Sharp, brilliant. One of the few senior executives who'd actually acknowledged my work. Patricia, yes, I remember you. How did you get my number? Through mutual contacts. I heard about your situation through the grapevine, the divorce being thrown out. I wanted to reach out. I felt simultaneously grateful and humiliated. The grapevine. Everyone knew. Everyone was talking about how Amara Williams had been thrown out by her husband, accused of cheating, left with nothing. I appreciate that, I said carefully. But I'm not really in a position to catch up right now. I'm not calling to catch up. I'm calling with a job offer. I stopped breathing. A job offer? Do you remember why you left Apex? I got married. Derek wanted me to focus on family eventually. That's the official story. But I remember what you were really working on before you left. I'd forgotten about the Mitchell Automotive campaign. Or maybe I'd tried to forget because remembering it hurt too much. It had been my first major assignment at Apex. Mitchell Automotive was a huge client, $50 million account, and they were about to walk because our campaign was failing miserably. Traditional marketing wasn't working. Print ads, TV spots, radio, all falling flat. The client was furious. I'd been 27, a junior account manager who was supposed to be taking notes in meetings, not contributing ideas. But I'd had an idea. A guerrilla marketing strategy that would meet customers where they actually were, not where we assumed they'd be. Social media influencers, viral videos, grassroots events in unexpected places. I'd worked up the pitch in secret. Spent 3 weeks on it. Barely slept. When I'd finally presented it to my boss, he'd looked at it for 5 minutes and said, "This might work." He'd presented it to the client as his idea. The campaign had launched and exploded. Viral videos got millions of views. Sales increased 40%. Mitchell Automotive signed a new 5-year contract. My boss got promoted. I got a $5,000 bonus and a promise that next time I'd get proper credit. There'd never been a next time. I'd left Apex 6 months later, burned out and undervalued. You remember, Patricia said now over the phone, the Mitchell campaign. You created that strategy. My boss took credit for it. I know I was there. And I thought it was brilliant. Still do. That campaign is taught as a case study at Harvard Business School now, is it? I hadn't known that. Amara, I left Apex 3 years ago. Started my own agency. Thornton & Associates. We're boutique, but we're powerful. Our clients include Fortune 500 companies, celebrities, politicians who need reputation management. That's impressive. I need someone brilliant, someone hungry, someone who has something to prove. Someone like you, Patricia. I haven't worked in 2 years. I have a toddler. I'm going through a divorce. You're exactly what I need. Amara, you were genius level talented 8 years ago. You're older now, you've lived more. You've been through hell. That makes you better, not worse. I can't afford childcare. I'm living on my friend's couch. I'm barely holding it together. I'm offering you a job. Senior strategist position. $50,000 base salary plus performance bonuses. I'll provide an office with an attached playroom for Zoe if you need to bring her. Flexible hours. Full support. The number made me dizzy. $70,000. I'd been making $55,000 when I left Apex. Why? I whispered. Why would you do this for me? Because you're talented and I need talented people. And because I believe in giving women chances that men don't deserve, but somehow always get. Do you want the job or not? I looked around Tasha's tiny apartment, at Zoe sleeping on the couch, at my 2 suitcases containing everything I owned. Yes, I said. Yes. I want the job. Good. Start Monday, I'll email you the details. I started at Thornton & Associates on a Monday morning, terrified I'd forgotten everything I once knew. The office was in a sleek high-rise downtown, glass and steel and modern art. Patricia's receptionist greeted me warmly and showed me to my office. My office, with a window, and an attached playroom where Zoe could play while I worked. Patricia came in carrying 2 coffees. Welcome to Thornton & Associates. Ready to get started? I'm nervous, I admitted. I haven't done this in so long. It's like riding a bike. You'll remember. And Amara, don't let Derek's lies define you. You're not an unfit mother or a promiscuous woman or any of the things he said. You're a brilliant strategist who took time off to raise a child. That's not weakness, that's choice. Thank you. Now let's get to work. I have a client who needs reputation repair. Tech CEO accused of harassment. Allegations are murky. Some seem credible, some don't. He needs someone to help him navigate the public relations nightmare. She handed me a thick file. This is yours. Full creative control. Show me what you can do. I tore into that project like a woman possessed. The tech CEO Marcus Yang had been accused by 3 women of inappropriate behavior. 2 allegations seemed exaggerated or taken out of context. One seemed legitimate but not criminal. A badly handled pass at a conference after too many drinks. The media had painted him as a serial predator. His company's stock had dropped 30%. He was being called to testify before Congress. I developed a 3-part strategy. First, a sincere apology for the legitimate incident. Own it completely. Explain the context without excusing it. Detail steps taken to ensure it never happened again. Second, clear factual rebuttals of the exaggerated claims, with receipts, emails, witnesses, security footage proving the encounters weren't as alleged. Third, a proactive campaign highlighting his company's actual culture diversity initiatives, women in leadership, policies protecting employees. The strategy worked. Public opinion shifted within 3 weeks. The stock recovered. The congressional testimony went well. Marcus Yang kept his job. Patricia called me into her office. That was exceptional work. The client is thrilled. Thank you for giving me the chance. I didn't give you anything. You earned it. Now next project. Over the next year, I rebuilt myself piece by piece. I worked on campaign after campaign. A product launch for a luxury fashion brand that went viral and increased sales 300%. A political candidate who was trailing in the polls. My strategy turned the race around and she won by 8 points. A celebrity caught in a scandal. I managed the narrative so skillfully that she came out more popular than before. I was good at this. No. I was great at this. And I'd forgotten how good it felt to be great at something. The money helped. With the salary and bonuses I was making $200,000 by the end of the year. I moved into a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment in a safe neighborhood. I bought new clothes, designer clothes that made me feel powerful and beautiful. I joined a gym, started therapy, began rebuilding my confidence, and I fought Derek in court. Jennifer, my lawyer, was fierce. She dismantled his adultery claims systematically, phone records showing I'd barely left the apartment. Neighbors testifying that I'd been home constantly with Zoe. Bank statements showing I'd had no unexplained expenses. Mr. Williams claims his wife was conducting multiple affairs, Jennifer said in court. But he has 0 evidence, no texts, no emails, no witnesses, no suspicious charges, because it never happened. This was a fabrication designed to justify throwing out his wife so he wouldn't have to pay alimony. The judge agreed. The court ruled in my favor. 50-50 custody of Zoe. Derek had to pay child support based on his lawyer's salary. The adultery claims were dismissed. Derek was furious. He'd lost control of the narrative. Lost control of me, and now he was legally obligated to support the child he'd tried to deny. But I didn't care about his feelings anymore. I had my daughter. I had my career. I had my life back. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday afternoon. Annual Apex Innovators Gala. Read the elegant script. It was the city's biggest business event. A black tie affair attended by CEOs, politicians, celebrities, and anyone who was anyone in Chicago's business community. Patricia walked into my office. Did you get the invitation? Yes. Why are we invited? 3 of our clients are being honored. We should go. Network, represent the agency. Celebrate our wins. I hesitated. Derek might be there. His firm does work with some of these companies. So let him see you. Let him see what you've become. I looked at the invitation. Part of me wanted to hide, to avoid any possibility of running into Derek. But another part of me, the part that had been working insane hours, building campaigns, reclaiming my power, wanted him to see exactly what he'd thrown away. I'll go. I said. Good. And Amara? There's someone I want you to meet at the party. Potential major client. Who? Marcus Ellison. I knew the name. Everyone knew the name. Marcus Ellison was a billionaire media mogul who'd built an empire from nothing. He owned newspapers, TV stations, streaming services. He was self-made, brilliant, and famously selective about who he worked with. Why would Marcus Ellison want to meet me? Because I told him you're the best strategist I've ever worked with. And he trusts my judgment. I spent a ridiculous amount of money on a dress for the gala. Emerald green silk, perfectly tailored, elegant without being too revealing. It cost $3,000 more than I'd spent on a single item of clothing in my entire life before this year. But when I looked in the mirror, I saw someone I barely recognized. Someone powerful and beautiful and confident. Not the broken woman Derek had thrown out. Someone entirely new. I had my hair done professionally, loose curls, elegant and sophisticated, professional makeup that highlighted my features without being overdone. Diamond earrings I'd bought for myself. Tasha came over while I was getting ready. Damn. Amara, you look like you own the place. I feel like I might throw up. Don't. You're going to walk in there and show everyone, including Derek if he's there, exactly who you are now, not Derek's ex-wife, not some woman he threw out. Amara Williams, senior strategist, badass boss. When did you become a motivational speaker? When my best friend became a whole different person in 1 year. Now go. Patricia's waiting downstairs. The gala was held at the Waldorf Astoria in a ballroom that probably cost more to rent for one night than I used to make in a year. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, ice sculptures, champagne flowing freely. The room was filled with Chicago's elite people I recognized from Forbes covers, from the news, from social media. Patricia and I entered together. She knew everyone, introducing me to clients, potential clients, influential people I'd only read about. Amara Williams, this is Senator Richardson. Amara, meet David Chen, CEO of Chen Industries. Amara, you should meet Lisa Morrison. She runs the Morrison Foundation. I networked, shook hands, made small talk, felt surprisingly comfortable in this world I'd once thought was beyond my reach. And then across the room, I saw him. Derek! He was wearing an expensive suit, looking confident and smug. And on his arm was a woman I didn't recognize. She was young, mid-20s maybe. White, blonde, wearing a dress that was too tight and too short for this event. She looked uncomfortable, out of place, like she knew she didn't belong here. Derek's new girlfriend. Apparently, he was laughing too loudly at something someone said, making sure everyone around him knew he was having a great time. Performing success. Patricia noticed me staring. Is that him? Yes. With his new girlfriend. She looks uncomfortable. She should be. This isn't her world. I paused. It wasn't mine once either. It is now. Come on. Marcus is here. Marcus Ellison was standing by the bar, talking with a group of people who were clearly hanging on his every word. He was tall, distinguished, with gray at his temples that only made him more attractive. Impeccably dressed, commanding presence, the kind of person who walks into a room and everyone notices. Patricia approached confidently. Marcus, good to see you. He turned, smiled warmly. Patricia, always a pleasure. His eyes moved to me. And you must be Amara Williams. His handshake was firm, warm, confident. Patricia speaks very highly of you. She's generous. I've been fortunate to work with excellent clients. Luck has nothing to do with it. I reviewed your portfolio. The Mitchell Automotive campaign 8 years ago. That was genius. Changed how people think about guerrilla marketing. I was surprised he knew about that. You know about that campaign? I know everything about the people I might work with. That campaign is taught at Harvard now. Required reading in their marketing program. We talked for 20 minutes, maybe more, about marketing, about narrative control, about media strategy. Marcus asked intelligent questions, challenged my assumptions in ways that made me think harder, clearly valued expertise over flattery. Miss Williams, I'm looking for someone to manage public relations for Ellison Media Group. It's a massive undertaking, multiple properties, constant media scrutiny, complex reputation management across different sectors. I need someone brilliant who understands how to control narrative. Patricia suggested you might be interested. I'm very interested. We should schedule a meeting to discuss specifics. I'd prefer to discuss it now, if you don't mind. The terrace is quieter. May I steal you for a private conversation? He offered his arm. I took it naturally, professionally. As we walked toward the terrace doors, I caught sight of Derek across the ballroom. He was staring at us, drink frozen halfway to his mouth, face pale. He'd just seen his ex-wife, the woman he'd called a tramp and thrown out with their toddler, walking arm in arm with one of the richest, most powerful men in the city. I didn't smile, didn't acknowledge him. Just walked past as if he didn't exist. The terrace overlooking downtown Chicago was beautiful. The city lights sparkled below us, Cool night air relief from the crowded ballroom. Marcus got straight to business. Ellison Media Group needs a complete communications overhaul. We've grown rapidly, acquisitions, new properties expanding into streaming and digital, but our public image hasn't kept pace. I need someone who can manage messaging across all properties, handle crisis communication, build brand consistency, and do it all while maintaining editorial independence for our news operations. That's a significant challenge, I said. Media companies face unique reputation issues. You have to maintain credibility while also promoting your properties. And any hint that PR is influencing editorial kills that credibility. Exactly. Which is why I need someone who understands the balance. Patricia says you're that person. We talked strategy for another 30 minutes. Marcus was brilliant. He grasped concepts quickly, asked questions that showed deep understanding, challenged me in ways that made me sharper. I want to offer you a position, he said finally. Chief Communications Officer for Ellison Media Group. You'd report directly to me. Full creative control over messaging and crisis management. $400,000 base salary. Stock options. Full team reporting to you. I'm pretty sure my heart stopped. $400,000, plus performance bonuses tied to company metrics. You'd be an executive officer of the company. And Amara? I don't make offers like this to people who aren't worth it. Marcus, that's an extraordinary offer. You're an extraordinary talent. Think about it. But don't think too long. I need someone in place within a month. Inside the ballroom through the glass doors I could see Derek watching us. His girlfriend was tugging his arm, clearly wanting to leave, but he was frozen, staring. I don't need to think about it, I said. I accept. Marcus smiled. Excellent. I'll have my lawyers draw up the contract. Welcome to Ellison Media, Ms. Williams. We shook hands, sealing the deal that would change my life. We returned to the ballroom and Derek was suddenly there, blocking our path. Amora, I need to talk to you. His voice had an edge. I recognized desperation masked as authority. I kept my expression neutral. Derek, I'm in the middle of a meeting. It'll just take a minute. Marcus stepped slightly forward, protective without being aggressive. The lady said she's busy. You should respect that. Derek looked at Marcus, seemed to recognize him, went even paler. This is between me and my ex-wife. Your ex-wife, Marcus emphasized the ex. Meaning she doesn't owe you her time? People nearby were starting to notice. To watch. To listen. I didn't want a scene, but I also wasn't going to be intimidated. Derek, what do you want? I want to know what you're doing here. How you got invited to this. I work for Thornton & Associates. We have clients being honored tonight. I'm here professionally. You work? Since when? Since you threw me out. I had to support our daughter somehow. His face flushed. Several people nearby had definitely heard that. Can we talk privately? No. Anything you want to say it here. Amara, He glanced around at the watching faces. I may have been hasty. About the divorce. About some of the things I said. Marcus's voice was quiet but cold. What things did you say? I looked at Marcus, then at the growing audience. He called me a tramp, said my daughter would be too. Then threw us both out at 11 p.m. with nowhere to go. Gasps from the crowd. A woman near us put her hand over her mouth. Derek's face went red. I was angry. I thought she was cheating. I wasn't cheating. You made it up so you could divorce me without paying alimony. The court agreed with me, by the way. That's not. I made a mistake. Okay. But Amara, we have a daughter together. We should try to work things out. For Zoe's sake. Before I could respond, a blonde woman appeared at Derek's elbow, clinging to his arm. Derek, who is this woman? Can we go yet? I'm bored. The silence was deafening. I looked at the woman, Derek's girlfriend. Clearly, she looked even younger up close. Early 20s maybe. I'm his ex-wife, I said evenly. The one he threw out with our 2-year-old daughter. The woman turned to Derek, eyes wide. You have a daughter? You told me you didn't have kids. Sienna? It's complicated. You lied to me? Her voice was rising, drawing even more attention. We've been together for 6 months and you never mentioned having a child? Marcus leaned toward me, voice quiet. Would you like me to have security remove them? This seems to be turning into a circus. No, I said. Let them finish. This is actually fascinating. Derek was trying to calm Sienna down. Baby, please. I can explain. Explain what? That you're a liar? That you have a kid you abandoned? That you told me your ex-wife was crazy when apparently you just threw her out? I didn't abandon anyone. I have custody arrangements, which you never mentioned. Sienna pulled away from him. You know what? We're done. I'm not dating a liar who treats his family like garbage. She slapped him, the sound echoing in the suddenly quiet ballroom, and stormed toward the exit. Derek started after her. Sienna, wait. Patricia appeared beside me, looking entirely too pleased. Well, that was dramatic. The crowd was buzzing now. Dozens of Chicago's elite had just witnessed Derek Williams admit to throwing out his wife, lying to his girlfriend, and generally being a terrible person. Someone near us whispered, "Is that Derek Williams, the lawyer?" Another person responded, "Yeah. His career is going to tank after this. Who wants to hire a lawyer who treats people like that?" Marcus offered me his arm again. "Should we continue our conversation somewhere quieter?" "That sounds perfect." As we walked away, I heard the whispers following us. "Did you see that? Marcus Ellison is with her. Derek Williams is an idiot. That woman is gorgeous. And she completely handled that with class. I heard she works for Thornton and Associates, Patricia Thornton's firm." The story would be all over Chicago by morning. It was. By the next afternoon, I had 3 friends sending me links to gossip blogs and social media posts about the confrontation at the Apex Gala. Someone had recorded video. Of course they had. The video showed Derek blocking my path, me calmly responding, the reveal that he'd thrown me out, Sienna's dramatic entrance and exit, the slap. It was being shared thousands of times. The headlines were brutal. Corporate lawyer called ex-wife tramp before throwing her out. She shows up at elite gala with billionaire. Derek Williams exposed at gala, lied to girlfriend about having daughter. Lawyer's ex-wife gets last laugh after public confrontation. The comments were even worse. Derek Williams is trash. Hope his career tanks. That woman handled that with so much grace. Derek is an idiot for letting her go. Imagine throwing out your wife and kid and then she shows up a year later looking like that with Marcus Ellison. The karma. Patricia called me. "Have you seen the videos?" "Everyone sent them to me." "This is good for you. Bad for Derek, but good for you. You come across as poised, professional, victimized by a jerk. Your stock just went way up." I didn't want to become a viral video. You didn't choose it, but now that it's happened, use it. You're gonna get offers, speaking engagements, interviews, opportunities. You're the woman who rebuilt from nothing and showed up her ex. That's a powerful narrative. She was right. Over the next week, I got interview requests from 3 major outlets, speaking invitations from 2 women's organizations, and inquiries from 4 potential clients who'd seen the video and wanted to work with me. Derek, meanwhile, was imploding. His law firm reportedly called him in for a meeting after the video went viral. Several of his clients dropped him, one publicly stating they couldn't be associated with someone who treats women that way. Sienna did an interview with a local news station where she called Derek a liar and a manipulator who told me his ex-wife was crazy when actually he just threw her out and stole from her. That part wasn't even in the video. Sienna was adding her own narrative about Derek's lies regarding me. His colleagues were reportedly distancing themselves. His reputation was in freefall, and I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication, not even pity, just indifference. Derek had tried to destroy me. Instead, he'd freed me to become someone better than I'd ever been. I started at Ellison Media Group 3 weeks later. My title was Chief Communications Officer. My office was on the executive floor, corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. I had a team of 20 people reporting to me, publicists, crisis managers, social media strategists, all of them talented and most of them older than me. My first day, Marcus gathered the entire communications team for a meeting. "This is Amara Williams, our new CCO. Some of you may have seen her viral video from the Apex Gala." A few people chuckled, but that's not why she's here. She's here because she's brilliant. She turned around the Mitchell Automotive campaign. She's managed reputation repair for some of the toughest clients in the business. She understands narrative control better than anyone I've met. She reports directly to me. She has full authority over all communication strategy for every Ellison property. If she tells you to do something, it's as if I told you to do it. Welcome her, support her, learn from her. After the meeting, people came up to introduce themselves. Most were welcoming. A few were clearly skeptical. A 36-year-old black woman in an executive role. Some people would always question whether I'd earned it. I'd prove it with results. Over the next 6 months, I rebuilt Ellison Media's entire communications strategy. Unified messaging across all properties, crisis protocols that could be activated within minutes, brand consistency that maintained each property's unique voice while building the Ellison reputation. When one of our newspapers published a controversial investigative piece, I managed the fallout so skillfully that we actually gained subscribers instead of losing them. When a TV host on one of our networks said something stupid on social media, I had a response strategy implemented within an hour that minimized damage. When Marcus was called to testify before a Senate committee about media consolidation, I prepared him so thoroughly that he came across as thoughtful and responsible instead of defensive. The company's reputation improved measurably. Brand recognition up, negative mentions down, crisis response time cut in half. Marcus called me into his office after my 6-month review. You've exceeded every expectation. The board is thrilled. I'm thrilled. Thank you. The team has been excellent. The team is executing your vision. This is your success. He slid a folder across the desk. Your bonus, based on company performance metrics tied to your work. I opened it. The number made me blink. $150,000. My bonus was $50,000 on top of my $400,000 salary. I'd made over $500,000 in 6 months. That's incredibly generous. It's earned. And Amara, I want to discuss something else. He paused, seeming uncharacteristically uncertain.
There's a media conference in New York next month.
3 days, all the major players in the industry. I'd like you to come with me, represent Ellison Media, network, build relationships. Of course, that makes sense from a communications perspective. It does. But I'm also asking because I enjoy your company. You're brilliant, insightful, and I'd like to spend more time with you outside of work context. I looked at him carefully. Marcus, are you asking me on a business trip or a date? Both. If you're open to it. If you're not, it's strictly professional and this conversation never happened. I thought about it. Marcus was my boss, which complicated things. But he was also brilliant, respectful, attractive, and the first man in years who treated me as an equal instead of someone to control. I'm open to it, I said. His smile was warm. Good. I'll book separate rooms, of course. Whatever happens or doesn't happen is entirely up to you. The media conference was professional and perfect. We attended panels, networked with industry leaders, represented Ellison Media impeccably, and in the evenings we had dinner together. Talked about everything. Business, family, dreams, failures. Marcus told me about building his empire from nothing, about being a black man in an industry that didn't want to let him in. I told him about Derek, about being thrown out, about clawing my way back. You're remarkable, he said over dinner the second night. Most people would have given up. You rebuilt yourself completely. I didn't have a choice. I had a daughter to support. You had choices. You chose to fight instead of surrender. That takes courage. On the last night, after an industry dinner where we'd both been recognized for our work, Marcus walked me to my hotel room. Thank you for coming with me this week, he said. You made this infinitely more enjoyable. Thank you for inviting me, for believing in me, for giving me a chance when I needed one. I didn't give you anything. You earned every opportunity you've received. He leaned in, gave me a gentle kiss on the cheek. Good night, Amara. I went to bed smiling for the first time in years. Derek reached out 6 months after the gala, an email to my work address. Can we meet? I need to talk to you about something important. I almost deleted it, but curiosity got the better of me. We met at a coffee shop equidistant between our apartments. Neutral territory. He looked terrible. Thinner, older with dark circles under his eyes, and a general air of defeat. Thank you for meeting me, he said as I sat down. I dressed professionally. Elegant suit, understated jewelry, hair perfect. I looked like an executive because that's what I was. You have 10 minutes. I have a meeting at Ellison Media. At 3. Still working there? With Marcus Ellison? I'm the Chief Communications Officer. And yes, still working there. Is that what you wanted to discuss? No. Amara. I need to apologize for everything. For what I said, what I did, how I treated you. Okay, that's it. Just okay, Derek. I'm not interested in rehashing the past. You apologized. I heard it. What else do you want? I want you to understand. I was under so much pressure at work. The firm was demanding. I was stressed, and I made terrible decisions. You called me a tramp in front of our daughter. You threw us out at 11 p.m. with nowhere to go. You tried to take custody of Zoe by lying about me in court. Those weren't decisions made under pressure. Those were choices that revealed who you really are. I know, and I've lost everything because of it. What do you mean? The firm fired me. After the video went viral, after clients started dropping me, they let me go. Said I was bad for the brand. He laughed bitterly. Ironic, right? You're a communications executive now. You probably could have fixed it for me. I could have. I won't. I'm working at a small firm now, making a third of what I used to make, living in a tiny apartment. Sienna left me, obviously. My reputation is destroyed. Derek, why are you telling me this? Because I need help. I can barely afford rent. Child support is killing me. I was hoping, could you maybe reduce the support payments? Or help me get a better job? You know people now. Important people. I stared at him, genuinely shocked. Are you seriously asking me to help you after what you did? We were married for 7 years. We have a daughter together. Doesn't that mean anything? It meant everything, past tense. You destroyed it when you threw me out, so you're just going to let me suffer. I'm not making you suffer. I'm just not saving you from the consequences of your own actions. There's a difference. I stood up. Derek, you made choices. You chose to throw me out. You chose to lie in court. You chose to treat me like garbage. Now you're facing the results of those choices. I clawed my way back from nothing. I rebuilt my career from scratch while caring for a toddler. I did it without help, without handouts, without begging my ex for assistance. You can do the same. Or you can keep wallowing in self-pity. Your choice. That's it? You're just going to walk away? Yes. Goodbye, Derek. I left him sitting there, looking defeated and lost, and I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication, not even pity. Just relief that he was no longer my problem. 1 year after the gala, 2 years after Derek threw me out, I stood in my beautiful house in Lincoln Park, the home I'd bought for Zoe and myself, and took stock of my life. I was making $550,000 a year at Ellison Media. I had savings, investments, security. Zoe had her own room, her own toys, her own space to grow and thrive. I had full custody. Derek had visitation rights every other weekend, which he sometimes exercised and sometimes didn't. But Zoe was happy, healthy, thriving in school. I was dating Marcus. Slowly, carefully, but genuinely. He was patient, respectful, never pushy. He treated Zoe like she mattered. He treated me like an equal. My career was flourishing. I'd been invited to speak at conferences, write articles for industry publications, mentor young professionals. I'd gone from broken and homeless to powerful and secure in 2 years. Derek had gone from arrogant and comfortable to struggling and diminished. The reversal was complete. I was getting ready for another event, this time a charity gala where I was being honored for my work. When Zoe came into my room, she was 4 now, smart and funny and full of personality. Mama, you look pretty. Thank you, baby. Where you going? To a party where they're giving Mama an award for her work. What kind of work? I help people tell their stories. I help companies talk to people in good ways. Like you help people? Exactly like that. Daddy says you got lucky, that you didn't deserve your job. My hand stilled on my earrings. When did Daddy say that? Last weekend. He was on the phone with someone. I heard him. I knelt down to Zoe's level. Baby, I want you to know something. Mama worked very hard to get where she is. I studied and learned and practiced and kept trying even when things were difficult. That's not luck. That's hard work. Don't let anyone, not even Daddy, tell you that Mama didn't earn what she has. Okay, Mama. And Zoe, you can be anything you want to be. You're smart and strong and capable. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, even if they're bigger than me, especially if they're bigger than you. The gala that night was beautiful. I accepted my award for excellence in communications and advocacy and gave a speech that I'd written myself. 2 years ago I was homeless. My ex-husband had thrown me out with our toddler daughter at 11 p.m. with nowhere to go. I had $8,000 in savings, no job and no prospects. The audience was silent, listening. Today, I'm Chief Communications Officer of Ellison Media Group. I own my home. I support my daughter. I have a career I love and work that matters. What changed? Not luck. Not handouts. Not being saved by a man. What changed was that someone gave me an opportunity, and I worked harder than I've ever worked in my life to prove I deserved it. My ex-husband called me a tramp and said my daughter would be too. He tried to destroy my reputation so he could divorce me without consequences. This award isn't just for me. It's for every woman who's been told she's worthless. For every person who's been thrown away and told they don't matter. You do matter, your work matters, your voice matters. Don't let anyone, not a spouse, Not a boss, not society convince you that you're less than you are. You're capable of more than you know. I'm living proof. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. Marcus, sitting in the front row, was smiling. Afterward, dozens of people came up to congratulate me, to share their own stories of rebuilding, to thank me for speaking their truth. And in the back of the ballroom I saw him, Derek. He'd somehow gotten an invitation, probably through someone he knew, some connection he was still clinging to. He was alone. No girlfriend, no colleagues, no friends, just standing there watching me be celebrated for the life I'd built after he tried to destroy me. Our eyes met across the room. I didn't smile, didn't gloat, didn't react at all, just looked at him for 1 second, then turned away to talk to someone else. He wasn't worth my attention anymore. I'm Amara Williams. I'm 36 years old. When my husband yelled, "You're a tramp, and your kid will be too," and tossed me out with our 2-year-old daughter, he thought he was ending my story. He thought I'd be desperate, broken, begging him to take me back within weeks. A year later he showed up at a party full of big shots with his side chick, and the look on his face when he saw me next to Marcus Ellison, billionaire, media mogul, one of the most powerful men in the city, was everything. Shock, disbelief, regret, because he'd thrown away a diamond thinking it was glass. 2 years later I'm Chief Communications Officer of Ellison Media Group, making over $500,000 a year. I own my home. I have full custody of my daughter. I'm dating an incredible man who treats me with respect and values my expertise. Derek is working at a small firm making a third of what he used to make, living in a tiny apartment, his reputation destroyed by his own actions. I didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself. I just rebuilt myself and let him watch. That's not revenge. That's justice. My ex-husband tried to tell the world I was worthless, that I was a tramp who didn't deserve respect or support. Instead, I showed the world exactly what I'm worth. And I've never been happier. Because the best revenge isn't hurting the person who hurt you. It's becoming so successful that they realize they threw away something irreplaceable. Derek knows that now. And I don't need him to apologize or acknowledge it or feel bad about it. I just need to keep living my best life, raising my daughter, doing work that matters, and being happy. Everything else is just noise.